right, so this is section 2 of the week 6 text. It's on pages 4 to 6. As we read this section, you're going to highlight causes and results or effects of variation and details that help explain how variation impacts the survival of members within a species. As you may recall, the arrangement of an individual's DNA bases determines all of the inherited characteristics of that individual. Any change in the bases of their sequences may bring about a change in the individual. But not all of those changes can be passed on to the child's offspring. Onto the individual's offspring. In sexually reproducing organisms, only changes in the genes of sex cells can be passed on to the next generation and can become the basis of evolutionary change. You should highlight that. Other types of variation, such as changes to body cells, die with the individual. I'm going to highlight that. For example, a father who has built large muscles due to his exercises does not pass those large muscles on to his offspring. There are two major ways an organism can wind up with genes that differ from those of its parents. Some genetic variations arise because of mutations, highlight that. And others are due to the recombination or the routine sorting and recombination of genes that occurs during sexual reproduction. So go ahead and pause and answer this CFU question. What are the two causes of genetic variation? And go ahead and press play when you're ready to pick up back again. Mutation as a source of variation. A mutation is a change of a DNA base sequence in a DNA molecule. Highlight that. Mutations occur as random chance events that cannot be predicted. That's important. Highlight that. Some mutations occur as errors in DNA as cells function. Radiation and some chemicals can also cause harm. Mutations are an important source of totally new forms of genes. When mutations occur in body cells, however, they affect only that individual. However, a mutation in a single-celled organism or the sex cells of a multicellular organism can be passed on to the offspring. Highlight that. In organisms that reproduce sexually, only mutations in the sex cells can become the basis for evolutionary change. Highlight that. Nearly all mutations are harmful and may affect offspring so severe that it cannot survive. A few mutations benefit the individual, however, I'm going to highlight that, and can increase its chance of surviving, reproducing, and passing on that mutation to the following generation. A beneficial mutation may lead to the evolution of a new species. Highlight that. For example, the ancestors of polar bears probably had dark fur. If a mutation resulted in a bear with white fur, that bear probably would have died young. However, if the mutation occurred in a snowy environment, the white fur could be a useful or a beneficial mutation, allowing the bear to stalk its prey more effectively in the snowy environment without being detected by its prey. So for your check for understanding, you're going to pause and answer these three questions. What happens in a DNA mutation? 2, why don't mutations in an individual body cells contribute to the evolution of the overall population? And 3, give an example of how genetic mutations can end up being beneficial for an organism. All right, last section, recombination as a source of variation. The sorting and random recombining of genes during meiosis and fertilization results in new and different combinations of genes. Highlight that. These genes can then be passed on to individual offspring. Highlight that. This process is similar, is called recombination, and it is similar to I'm going to highlight recombination. It is similar to shuffling and dealing cards. The deck stays the same, but nearly every hand will be slightly different because of mixing and rearranging during shuffling. At fertilization, even more variety is introduced because now cards from 2 decks are combined. Although mutations provide new genetic instructions, genetic recombination is the main source of variation that exists among the members of any sexually reproducing species. Highlight that. Now, on your own, describe what occurs during genetic recombination. And don't forget, we're going to continue reading to the next page in the next video.